Hello everyone, welcome back to Maths Help. Today we will be going through the final method of solving a quadratic. So the method is solving a quadratic by completing the square. So solving a quadratic by completing the square. So I'll be shortly going through the completing the square method, but please don't worry, I will put another video with much more details and examples, because this is going to be more focused on how to solve rather than completing the square. But like I said, don't worry, there will be another video that's just dedicated to completing the square. So a quadratic would look something along the lines of x squared minus 4x minus 12, and the quadratic equation is equal to 0. So always make sure it's in this form before you start. So what do I mean by in this form? So you can have something like x squared is equal to 3x minus 4, but you can't really complete a square in this form. So what you need to do is first of all make sure it's in the form x squared minus 4x minus 12 equal to 0, or in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So in this case, you would have to move the 3x and minus 4 to the other side. So that will become x squared minus 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. So it is very important that you try to do this. So the first step of solving a quadratic by completing the square is to complete the square. So I'll be quite quickly going on through the step, but I will still go through it because it's the most important part of the whole solving process. So first step, look to see what is the coefficient of x. So coefficient is just a number in front of the variable. So in this case, minus 4 is the coefficient of x. It's very important that you include the sign. Sometimes what people would do is they would just take the 4, but that's not the case. The coefficient is minus 4, not just 4. Yeah, very important you include the sign. And the first step is to halve the coefficient. It doesn't matter what the coefficient is, you always halve it. So you halve it and you're left with minus 2. Perfect. The second step is to write this using this a square. So what I mean by that is something along the lines of x minus 2 whole squared. So you see the minus 2, you just literally just plug into this form and you have x minus 2 whole squared. If it was positive, it will be just x plus 2 whole squared. So this is why it's very important that you carry on the sign. The third step is to, of course, expand this quadratic. So I'm assuming you know how to expand a quadratic. Otherwise, please do watch the expanding quadratic video. So I'll be expanding this and I will get x squared minus 4x plus 4. Now here is the interesting part. From here onwards, you can do it two different ways, but I'm going to just use the way I'm more comfortable here. But of course, you can watch the completing the square video to make sure you know all the different ways you can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how I can go from plus 4 to minus 12. So that would be minus 16. So that is step 4. So step 4. And the final step for me would be, just going to try to choose the right color. So let's say brown. Why not? So let's use this. And the final step would be to rewrite it as x minus 2 whole squared minus 16 minus 15. So now you have completed the square for this equation. Sorry, this quadratic. So now we have to rewrite the whole quadratic equation using the completed square. So it will be rewritten as x minus 2 whole squared minus 16 is equal to 0. Yep, so now we are going to actually start solving this. So the first step would be to get rid of the number here. So since I have minus 16 here, I will add 16 on both sides. So that would be x minus 2 whole squared is equal to 16. Now we will be doing an very important step, which is the inverse of a square. So inverse of a square is always square root. So I will square root both sides. And I will get x minus 2 is equal to 4. Isn't that right? Okay, here is where we have to think a bit differently. So what would I get if I do 4 times 4? I will get 16, of course. What happens if I do minus 4 times minus 4? I will also get 16. So how are you sure that when you square root 16, you initially multiplied 4 times 4 or minus 4 times minus 4? How would you know that? So maybe take a second to think through and see if you can come up with an answer. Maybe post the video as well. Okay, now here's the thing. You just don't know. So what you do is you just put a plus minus. It could be positive 4, it could be minus 4. So it's very important that you remember that plus minus, because there are two possibilities, not one. Yep, two possibilities. Now what I'm going to do is split this into two different equations. One that says x minus 2 is equal to the positive 4, and another one that says x minus 2 is equal to negative 4. So now we have two different equations to solve. So if you remember, a quadratic equation usually has two solutions, and this is how we will get the solutions for this question. So I will solve this separately, and I will have plus 2, and I have x equal to 6, and for the next one I have plus 2, and x is equal to minus 2. So the two solutions I have, x is equal to 6, or x is equal to minus 2. And that's it. You have solved the quadratic using completing the square. So hopefully that was clear enough. If it wasn't, please rewind and watch it once more. And if you have any further questions, please comment below. I will answer as soon as possible. Perfect. So this is the most simple kind of the method. When I say simple, quadratic solving by completing the square is not that of a low level of a topic. It is pretty high level, but this is the simpler version of this topic. Now let's give a look into the harder version. So a hard example is when you have a number in front of the x squared. So it will look something along the line of 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. So if you look at this equation, it is clearly similar to the last one, but there's something very different. And the something that is very different is the coefficient of the x squared. In this case, that is 2. And we don't really want a coefficient, because if you remember, we're used to just having an x squared. So what we do is we get rid of that. So since 2 is multiplying x squared, to get rid of 2, we just have to divide by 2. Now here is the thing. You have to divide the whole side, not just x squared. So you have to divide this whole side by 2. What does that mean? It means you have to do 2x squared divided by 2, then 4x divided by 2, minus 6 divided by 2, and you have, of course, 0 divided by 2, which is just 0. So it's very important that you divide each and every term in that side and not just x squared. It is a simple mistake to make, but make sure you are careful of that. So that would simplify to give me x squared plus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. From here onwards, it is the exact same method as the last question we did. So first of all, I identified the coefficient of the x. In this case, it's 2. I divide it by 2. I half it and I get 1. So that's step number 1. Step number 2. So step number 2, I rewrite it in the form like this. Step number 3, I expand the bracket. And I get this. Now step number 4, I look at this and see how I can go from +1 to -3. And that would be -4. So now I rewrite the whole quadratic as x plus 1 whole squared minus 4. Now I will get on to the solving, and I will have something along the lines of x plus 1 whole squared minus 4 equal to 0. Add 4 on both sides. I get x plus 1 whole squared is equal to 4. I square root both sides, and I'm left with x plus 1 is equal to plus minus 2. It is very important that you put in the plus minus, and after that split it into two different equations. X plus 1 equal to 2, x plus 1 equal to minus 2, and solve the two separately. So you will do minus 1 here, that gives you x is equal to 1, minus 1 here, and that gives you x is equal to minus 3. So you know that x is equal to minus 3, or x is equal to 1. Perfect. So that's it. Hopefully it was clear enough, but if you need more help, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to explain it a bit more further. So that is the two different type of questions that could come up. So let me quickly go through some areas where you could slip up. So far I kind of used kind of a nice example, if I say, because everything is easily divisible by 2. But sometimes you will have a middle number of, for example, maybe 3 or something like that. But the method stays the same. Please do not be confused by having an odd number in front as the coefficient of x. Yeah, it does not matter. It can be 3, 5, 500, 1 million. It does not matter. You follow the process. Divide by 2, get the number. So when it's odd, you of course get a fraction, and it doesn't matter. You follow the process. You put it in the bracket, you expand the bracket, you have the fractions as coefficients, but that's completely normal and completely fine. And then you follow these 5 steps and you should be perfectly fine. And then you follow this solving, it should also be perfectly fine. So don't be scared of fractions in this. That can definitely happen, and it's completely normal to happen, but follow the process. Trust the process, and it should get you to the answer. Perfect. So that's it for solving a quadratic by completing the square. Hopefully I have explained it well. In some areas I might seem a bit rushed, so do let me know in the comment section so I can think of that in the future, and don't be rushed and won't be rushed in the future. So please feel free to just let me know in the comment section. So that's it for today. Thank you. And of course, if you need any topics that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comment section and I can cover it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day, everybody. And please let me know how you feel in the comment section. And of course, definitely click that like button and the subscription button. Perfect. That's it for today. See you soon.